All right, very well. Good evening, everybody. It does sound like a little echo in here, but I do apologize, and the chamber's alone here tonight. But again, this is our the Village of Woodlawn regular council meeting, September the 29th, 2020. I do have the clerk. It looks like I have 7:02.
Yes.
We will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Jerry, you got a flag behind you today? Jerry?
Yeah, you see it?
There's that flag. All right. So, team, we're just going to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And Jerry, go ahead and lead us off, please.
Pledge of allegiance
to the flag
The flag
I'm
of the
sorry.
United States of America,
of America,
to
the
the
republic,
which stands
nation,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
Very well. Father God, right now, we just want to just pause and say thank you for allowing us to come again and do the business of the Village of Woodlawn. It is not personal, Lord, but it is just for the residents of this great community. Right now, we just want to put a comforting hand around those who have experienced a hardship during the COVID-19, but we know that in the end, they will win. And these blessings we ask, amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Rosemary Brown,
Present.
Esther Boyd,
Here.
Eric Burkhalter,
Present.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Here.
Robert Lawson,
Present.
Kiana Trabue,
Here.
Mayor Poole.
Present. All right, very well. In front of us is the reading and disposal of the previous minutes from the regular council meeting from August the 25th, 2020. If there are no corrections, additions, or deletions to those minutes, I move that we accept these for our record. The motion is on the floor.
Make a motion to accept the minutes. Monica had sent us an email with a correction, and she has made that correction. I believe we have the first draft, and Monica has made the correction. This regarding a vote for Mr. And I just lost my screen. Can you hear me?
Yes, that is ordinance 19-2020,
Yes,
where Mr. Burkhalter voted no.
right.
Correct.
I don't know why my screen went away. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Mr. Burkhalter. I'm sorry. His vote was no, but it was recorded as yes, but it has
Yes.
to be corrected.
And she did send something out prior to the meeting tonight. Not for sure if council got that,
Right.
but she did make a correction to that.
Okay, so I make
Very
that
well.
motion to accept the minutes with that correction.
Okay.
I second it.
All right, roll call on that motion, please.
You're on mute, Monica.
Got it. Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
You're on mute, Ms. Boyd.
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter, Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Kiana Trabue,
Aye.
Very well, thank you. So I have appointments and confirmation presentations. Is the chief on the line with us tonight?
Yes, he is, Mayor.
Chief Tillman?
Yes, sir.
All right, Chief Tillman, if you'd be so kind enough to introduce our new police officers, would you do the presentation for that?
Well, I don't have the information in front of me.
Okay,
I have the bios in front of me.
all right. Jerry, if you could just briefly give us a quick overview. I believe that was sent out about the two gentlemen.
Correct. The first officer, you can see the bio. I sent this to everyone. It is Ezel E. Leonard is being recommended to be hired. Mr. Leonard was born in 1987. He is married. That his experience, he's been a certified police officer since January 2012. He is currently working at the Cincinnati Public Schools as a security officer. He's also worked at the College of Mount St. Joe as a part-time police officer, and he also worked for the City of Middletown and the Village of Lincoln Heights Police Departments as well. He received his certification January 2012. Like I said, he's married. He has 2 sons and 1 daughter. He's from Cincinnati, graduated from Woodward High School in 2007 and Sinclair Community College Police Officer certification in 2012. The second officer is Matthew Randolph. I sent that out as well. And Mr. Randolph was born in 1991. He's been a certified police officer since October of 2011. He currently is working for Great Parks of Hamilton County as a park ranger. Prior to the Great Parks, Mr. Randolph worked 4 years for Xavier University Police Department. He's also worked on several small villages since becoming certified as a police officer. Again, he was certified through Sinclair Police Academy, October 2011. He's currently single. He does have a son and a daughter. He's a graduate of Belmont High School, and I believe that's up near the Dayton area, if I'm not mistaken, and the Sinclair Community College Officer Certification in 2011. Those are the 2 officers we're presenting to council for approval to move forward with the hiring of these 2 gentlemen we feel are going to be great police officers.
Just so everyone understands the procedure, under the charter, no hires can be completed in the police department without the consent of council. So these 2 officers are being presented to council for approval tonight, and then they will be sworn in following council passing a motion on that.
Very well. With that being said, I offer a motion on the floor tonight for the approval of the 2 police officers, Mr. Azale Leonard and Matthew Randolph.
I have a question, Mayor, the chief.
Sure.
How many officers would that put us at, chief?
Total?
Total.
We're still too short.
What would be the total still?
Fully complemented would be 16. If we hire these 2 individuals, will be 2 from that number.
So we will be at 14.
14.
All right, thank you.
Still too short.
Are there any other questions? Having none, again, the motion is on the floor to appoint Police Officer Azale Leonard and Matthew Randolph.
Are you asking one of us to make a motion?
Correct.
Okay. I was a little confused.
No worries.
I'll make a motion for the appointment of the 2 police officers, Azale Leonard and Matthew Randolph.
I second it.
Very well. A roll call, please.
Monica, you're on mute.
Hey, I'm not on it today. My paper. Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Aye.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Deanna Trabue.
Aye.
Very well. Thank you, council. Chief and Jerry, if we could get together, let's get these young officers in so I can do an official swearing in. I am free to do that as early as tomorrow, not how much notice you need to give them, but just keep me in the loop and we'll make it happen. How does that sound?
We will reach out to them this evening to let them know what council's decision was and get a time of their availability. And I will reach out to you once I know what their availability is.
Okay, no worries. Appreciate it.
Perfect.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I also add, it would be great if we could, at some point have an opportunity to meet them as well, just so that they know, council has their full support.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd like to bring them back at the October meeting. If we,
Yeah.
Okay,
whenever we can meet in person, we'd like to have them there.
that would be great.
Our plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome, Chief. All right. Petitions, comments from the public. I do see AvTab on there today as well. And I seen him back on the Zoom. There he is. So with that being said, Mr. Praval, you want to give it a shout out here to the village of Woodlawn. Welcome.
Woodlawn, thank you so much for having me. Mr. Mayor, thank you to the council. I really appreciate this opportunity. I'll try and be brief. I wanted to talk to you, and I've been traveling the county talking about this subject, about evictions. There seems to be a lot of confusion, a lot of misinformation out there about what's going on with the current rules for eviction. So hopefully tonight I can clear some of that up, and I'd love to take questions to the extent you have any after this. About a month ago, the CDC issued an order under the guise of public health that's in a nutshell stated that if tenants could prove that COVID-19 is the reason why they can't afford to pay their rent, then landlords would not be able to evict them until December 31st. What some people are calling this is an eviction moratorium. It is not. Tenants, whether they qualify for this CDC order or not, are required to pay their rent now and in the future. The only thing the CDC order prevents is landlords evicting tenants for failure to pay rent. In that same time period, tenants have to continue paying rent. So I know that's a little bit confusing. It's a little bit nuanced. But I don't want tenants to think that just because they fall under this guise of the CDC order, that they don't have to pay rent until December 31st. That is not true. If you do not pay rent from now until December 31st, you will be evicted on December 31st, right? So it is very important that now and into the future, you pay your rent. However, if you can prove to a judge that COVID-19 has prevented you from being able to afford your rent in full, then the landlord will not be able to evict you. The other important thing to know is that the CDC order only applies to failure to pay rent. If you're a tenant engaged in illegal activity in the unit, then you can be evicted immediately. The CDC order does not apply to you. It only applies to failure to pay rent. You know, I'm grateful that the CDC took some action, that the federal government took some action. But it's only frankly, a half measure. What I don't want to lose track of is the landlord. It's important to remember that this pandemic is not the fault of the tenant. It's not the fault of the landlord. The CDC order certainly helps the tenant. What about the landlord? Well, your local government, both the city council in Cincinnati and the county commission of Hamilton County, you don't have to be a city resident to take part in this program, have set aside dollars for emergency rental assistance. If you qualify as a tenant, you can apply for this one-time payment of your rent, and those checks aren't cut to the tenant, they're cut to the landlord. So this is really a program that benefits the landlord or the property owner. In order to qualify for this program, you have to apply. There's a bunch of nonprofits in Hamilton County who are distributing these monies. And you can find a good website that's a catch-all for all of this is cincyhelpcenter.org, CINCY helpcenter.org. So to the council, to the extent that you have constituents, either landlords or tenants, who have questions about emergency rental assistance or the CDC order, hopefully now you can inform them of what's going on. Okay, so those are the rules. Logistically, how does it work? If you are a tenant and you've received a 3-day notice of eviction from your landlord, or you believe an eviction is imminent, you can download the CDC affidavit from the internet. It's on our website, countyclerk.org. It's also on the cincyhelpcenter.org website. Fill it out, answer the questions, attest, in other words, swear that but for COVID, you can't afford your rent. You hand that to the landlord. The landlord files that with the court. Upon your eviction hearing, both the landlord and the tenant hopefully show up, and a judge decides whether or not it's true that the tenant has been negatively affected by COVID. If the judge agrees with the tenant, then the eviction will be suspended until December 31st. The tenant still has to pay rent during that time period. If the judge doesn't buy the tenant story, then the eviction will proceed as normally. So that's kind of what's going on with evictions. That's the process. Those are the resources available. I'd love to take any questions if you guys have any.
So it's a waiver or a deferment?
It's a deferment because the eviction is not dismissed if you qualify under the CDC order. So the eviction is still pending. It's just suspended until December 31st.
So it should be understood by all renters that rent will be due, it's just deferred at a later date.
Well, rent is still due. I know this is a subtle distinction. Rent is still due every month. The landlord just can't evict you until December 31st. So if you're behind on your rent in September, but you qualify, it's very important that you catch up on your rent. You have this time period, this runway from now until December 31st to catch up on your rent, to get on a payment program, to be whole by December 31st. If you as a tenant are not whole by December 31st, you can and likely will be evicted on January 1st.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Cuervo, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we posted information on the tenant assistance program on our website to assist any of our residents that might need this assistance.
Great. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes.
If you get approved for, I guess, the extended time to December 31st, and you choose to move, say in December, you choose to move out on your own, can that landlord still put eviction on your record?
Yes, that's a very good question. Yes, they can. So it's very, very important. We tell folks, so I launched a help center to help both tenants and landlords. And what tenants don't quite understand, which is really destructive, is that even if you leave before your eviction hearing, or shortly, even if you leave before your eviction hearing, the landlord oftentimes will go through with the eviction. So even though you left the premises and found some other living quarters, you now have an eviction on your record, which, similar to a conviction in the criminal context, can follow you around for the rest of your life, preventing you from qualifying for affordable housing, or just preventing you from getting housing in general. So if you're in that situation, as Mr. Burkhalter mentioned, it's very important that you still show up for your eviction hearing and you tell the judge, listen, we shouldn't be here. I moved out. Let's get this thing dismissed.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Preval? Tab, again, I thank you for taking the time to come on the meeting with us tonight. Little different, right, for everybody with this Zoom. Typically, we're used to seeing you face to face, where we can get a hand bump. But needless to say, we thank you for being out there for us here in the village of Woodlawn, and continue the great work that you're doing out there.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Under this part of the agenda, which is any comments from the public, I did receive one, and I think it's befitting to address that here in this part of the agenda. The comment that came to me, what is our plan for Springfield Pike? And so let me just quickly try to address that. As we all know, 2020 has been a up and down battle hill. However, I feel very confident that we're moving in the right direction. And despite of the COVID-19, we, the village, continue to persevere through some of the hardships that we were out there against. Springfield Pike is not off the radar. In fact, it is big on the radar. It is part of the ED, the economic development that we are currently working with Mr. Ruggles with. However, There is some plans that was done back some years ago in our master plan. And so we're not identically following the master plan, but certainly we are using it as a guide. So we are doing some planning behind the scenes, but we ask that the residents is just be patient. Things are not going to flourish within the first 10 months. Really, the first year, you're just not going to see that. This is a process that we are going to, again, wrap our arms around. I am committed to see a difference on Springfield Pike. It's probably been the same way since I came here in the village in '67, but needless to say, I think the time is now. So for that resident who questioned about what is our plan, that is our plan, is to continue to have these talks and address the needs of the village so that we can enjoy what we call the downtown district of Springfield Pike. All right, we're gonna go on down to committee reports. Recreation Committee.
Mayor, can we back up?
Yes.
Back up. I have one comment too from someone in the public.
I'm sorry.
I did have one comment from the public as well. You did
Okay.
Springfield Pike. I'm glad you addressed that. The other one is that I received a card that was addressed to me and council, but Mayor, we'll include you on this too, okay? It was a thank you card from the Williams family. It said, thank you. You couldn't have been any nicer. And it says, thank you for all your help and support the Wilson family. So it was nice to receive that. I appreciate council stepping up, and I'm glad Mr. Wilson had a great 100th birthday.
Yes, and that you say that, Miss Jerry, I did receive a card today that was sent, and I was going to share that with full council for those that took the time out that day to come and celebrate Mr. Wilson. That was just awesome. Again, hats off to our police, fire, and service department. All departments got involved with that, and I was just grateful that we had the opportunity to spend that afternoon with Mr. Wilson on his 100th birthday. So thank you again for that. All right, committee reports, if we could just get a brief overview of our report. Recreation, Ms. Boyd.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We had a recreation meeting on September 1st, 2020 at 7 p.m. And the members of the Recreation Committee, myself, the chairperson, and also Mr. Burkhalter and Mr. Lawson. Also present was, of course, Mayor Poole and Tim Engel and Ashley Madden from the Finance Department, and John Fuller and Micaiah Eubanks, Recreation Director and Assistant Director, and Pamela Fitzgerald, who is chairman of the Finance Committee and a council member as well. I'd like to say that our Recreation Director, Stephen Sanders, has left the village, and we want to thank him for his service, and he's gone to another local municipality, and we thank him for his service and we wish him well. We talked about COVID-19 and the Recreation Center, which has, COVID-19 has every community of the country, everybody in the world has taken a hit financially, and things, normal activities have not gone on. However, we had a summer camp this summer, and we had the children for, I think, about 12 weeks, Jerry, was, I'm not sure. It was half of June, all of July, and half of August, and we had no COVID-19 cases with the children or the staff, which that was wonderful. And they had a nice summer camp. Mr. Fuller has talked about the fact that a lot of things are not, a lot of the activities have stopped, and that's because of the governor's mandate and about COVID-19. However, it's given him time to reach out to the other communities to see what was going on regarding the status of their activities and program, and try to prepare to match those programs. We will be starting a basketball league practices only. The practices only for Woodlawn sponsored basketball league is because we don't have enough room for the governor's guidelines on the social distancing to allow spectators, but we will be having the practices. And I think the teams are from 3rd to 6th grade. Mr. Burkhalter or Mr. Lawson might be able to correct me on that. Mr. Burkhalter, do you know when the signups start at the recreation, or Mr. Lawson, for the teams?
No, I don't know offhand.
I don't know either, Miss.
They started now. Miss Boyd.
They
They started now.
Oh, they've already started, so
Yes, ma'am.
to sign up. So you may want to call for our directors down there and they can give you the instruction. Is it on the website? Oh, it's also on the website. Okay.
Also, it's for grades 2 through 6.
Oh, 2 through 6. What did
Yes.
I say? 6 through 2. Thank you, Jerry.
Sure.
Also, we had our finance director gave us a report on our total expenditures for the year, and we were kind of going normal until the COVID hit, and things that were coming in and that were going out. However, the month of August by itself, we only the expenditures were only $23,000 when they're usually more than that, and $9,000 of that had to do with the summer camp and the food program, $3,918. The finance director is going to be working with the staff, the director at the recreation, because we have, for many reasons, we have been losing money at the recreation center, but we'll be going in a new direction, and the finance director will be working with them in their financing and to get us on track as much as possible. Mr. Burkhalter asked about why the recreation center was open all day and suggested that maybe we open at noon until 9 o'clock because we only have two directors working there. We had part-time people, but that's been, I think, put on hold. So we have the 2 directors so that they can share the time for someone always being there. We talked about the splash park construction update, and I think we got bids out, and I'm not sure. Mr. Thaman, would you speak on that?
Yes, we don't have the bid. It hasn't been advertised yet. I did documents from a proposed contractor that's trying to help me since this is kind of a unique situation, and I'm going through it, and I'm going to have Emily take a look to make sure all the legalese are in those documents as well. But I'm hoping to have those finished before the end of this week, and we can advertise either this weekend or early next week, as early as Monday, so that we can have those advertised for 2 weeks and then have bid openings following that.
Okay, thank you.
One more.
I forgot to mention with the rec center also, not only will the finance director be working with trying to get our revenue up there, Mr. Thaman will be working also, and he indicated that thorough program analysis would take place, but all of it to get us going in a different direction with the revenue and how it's in the losses and try to get more games. Also, we did discuss one of the things that we could do. The committee had a discussion about increasing the recreation fees and possible grants. I know I'm the grant lady to all you people out there. Start writing grants that will take on some of the expenses down there and will take some weight off of the general fund. So we will be doing that. I haven't forgotten your community with the grants. We will. COVID kind of stopped a lot of things, but they'll be resuming. But the grant work will be resumed as soon as we have an interim director now, and as soon as that becomes our director or then grant writing, I hope, will be part of what someone will come in and be very willing to participate in. Like I say, to take some of that weight off the general fund. And then the new business, the committee discussed a drive-in movie event that Mr. Burkhardt is in, and Mr. Fuller are in charge of. I guess they'll be getting the information out to the community. Mr. Burkhardt, are you still having that on October 3rd?
I was under the impression we were meeting on Monday and that meeting got canceled. So that's a discussion we need to have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had to cancel the meeting because I didn't get the information in time. So it couldn't be a legal meeting for public notification. But we'll get back to you on that. We discussed that. And that was it. If Mr. Burkhalter or Mr. Lawson have anything to add.
Jerry, I seen your hand out there.
Oh, Jerry, I'm sorry.
Since you brought up the recreation hours, the recreation department is going to start operating October 1st for the hours of Monday through Thursday from 12 to 9. And then on Fridays, it will be from 12 to 7.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, and that's about it. If anybody else has a question.
I have a question.
Yep,
This, based off what Jerry just shared about the hours starting on October 1st, I had a couple people asking me if the rec center was going to be open for fitness. So for people to come in and use the fitness equipment. So is that included in the new hours starting on October 1st that people can come in and utilize the fitness equipment?
Yes, they can.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, are there any other questions for Ms. Boyd and Recreation? Having none, Safety Committee, Mr. Lawson.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I do have something else from the public. I've been getting comments on how well the roads are looking here in beautiful Woodlawn, so I just wanted to pass that on. I know Charles Hunt had mentioned something. I think Stan Davis had mentioned something, and just a lot of friends that visit or live in the community notice what Woodlawn is doing. So I did want to share that with the public.
Good, thank you.
Okay, now on with the Safety Committee. We met September 8th, 2020 at 7 o'clock. Members are, I'm the chair, Robert Lawson, Boyd, and Tribune. Also in presence were Brown, Tillman, Johnson, Forth, Pittman, and Brown. I think we met for about an hour, and the biggest thing on the Safety Committee is fire and police increases. And I think we're probably going to have to sit down with an executive session, or we can talk about it, committee of the whole, because we didn't come up with a clear decision of what we're going to do. So I just ask the employees of Woodlawn, like Brian said earlier, just be patient, because we're really trying to spearhead this and come up with a good resolution that fits everyone. With that being said, we also talked about, Jerry, we were talking about hiring of new police officers. And if you tuned into the meeting, you noticed that we did hire 2 new police officers. So I want to take this time to welcome them to our beautiful village of Woodlawn. And then we finished up with our new business. The new business is we have COVID testing coming to Woodlawn. That's going to be October 3rd, 2020. All the information is listed on the website. So all Woodlawn residents that are interested, please go to the website, look at the information. If you have any questions, you still have time to either come down to the municipal building, or you could call if you have any questions about your free testing. It's very important. So please take time to make sure you have all the information. And I'll probably see you down there, because me and my family, we're going to get tested. We have a grandbaby coming, and it'll be here in December. So my wife thought that would definitely be a good idea for us as a house to get tested. So I'm encouraging everybody else to get tested as well. Our meeting concluded at 8:05. I won't take up a lot of time. If there's any questions, that's all we discussed. But at this time, if there's any questions.
If there are no other questions for Mr. Lawson, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Mr. Lawson.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, economic development, Ms. Trabue.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the Economic Development Committee met on September 9th. The members of those committee include myself, Pamela Fitzgerald, and Rosemary Brown. We had two guests for the meeting, Chris Smith from Showcase Building, who provided a presentation to the committee. He's interested in developing some property on Waverly. And then we also had a presentation by Sean Ruglis from the Catalyst Group, who has been working with us on developing an economic development strategic plan. That work was interrupted due to COVID, but despite that, we've made some great strides in completing a lot of the work. We are looking at resuming some of that work and trying to pull together a virtual meeting with some of our Woodlawn business leaders in order to complete that plan by the end of the year. We also talked about the composition of our Economic Development Committee, and we'll need to add some individuals to that committee, both resident members and then also business members. There was an update about Wayne Loft project was presented, and the final concept plan was submitted to the Planning Commission, and Council submitted a letter of support. And since we met, that final concept plan was approved. And we also looked at the renewal of the Hamilton County Development contract. There were no major changes, and I think we're going to review that in tonight's meeting. And that was it. We adjourned the meeting at 8:13.
All right, good stuff. Appreciate that. Any other questions for Ms. Trabue in economic development? All right, having done finance, Ms. Fitzgerald.
Good evening. The Finance Committee meeting took place on September 21st, 2020 at 7 p.m. Members present was myself, Pamela Fitzgerald, Esther Boyd, and Kiana Trabue. We were given an income tax update by Mr. Willis, revenue year-to-date versus monthly. Included in that was business, residential, and withholding accounts, which totaled $431,197 for the month of August. And we have collected from January 1st, 2019 to August 31st, 2020, $1,153,580 even. So they're in the process of using that money for the road levy. And that was the total that was collected since January 1st, 2020 to current. We also was given an update from our finance director, Mr. Engel. He gave us an update on the audit status. The village took part in a post-audit conference on September 8th, and the audit results are considered confidential until the release of the audit, but various audit adjustments to the village fund balances were proposed by the state auditor, and the village made some adjustments to that. Also, he gave us information that we request monthly on appropriations and revenue reports. As of August 31st, 2020, the village has collected 61% of budgeted revenues and expended 50% of appropriations. So we're doing good in those areas. Also, we talked about the general fund. The village has collected 58% of the total general fund budgeted revenues and expended 57% of total general fund appropriations. So we're good in those areas. He's also working on the negative fund balances that we have. The village eliminated a total of $113,000 in negative fund balances. So that's good news there. He's working to try to get those fund balances back in good standings. He also talked about and gave us information on the overtime report. The village has spent roughly $117,000 in overtime this year, and that's due to our police department and fire department accounting for 60% and 30% of overtime charges respectively. So with the hiring of the two officers, hopefully that overtime will continue to go down as we fill those positions that are still available. Recreation income versus expenses. The receipts noted in the summary provided that stated that we got $10,524 related to summer camp in, and we also expended $7,659 for expenditures that had to do with summer camp. As noted that Ms. Boyd in her report that's something that we're working on with the Recreation Department, trying to decrease the general fund dollars used there. Some of the other things we talked about was, and I think Tim will cover this in his report as well, the Ford F-250, the Village Finance 2 SUVs, and an F-250 for the through the Law Enforcement Trust Fund and General Fund, and I'm sure he's going to cover that. And also, Tim talked about RETA. It requires council to approve one delegate, and one alternate delegate to act as a representative to the Council of Government. So I think that's going to come through legislation. And the meeting was adjourned at 8:14 p.m. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Good report, Ms. Pam.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. Having no other questions for Ms. Fitzgerald, Law Committee, Mr. Burkhalter.
The Law Committee met, and everything that we discussed will be coming before us in legislation. Just a couple other things we did discuss briefly at the end of the meeting. There was a question that I brought up: when are we planning on opening up the recreation center? And Ms. Brown brought it to our attention that our interim recreation director, John Fuller, has submitted a detailed report on his suggestions on how we would reopen the rec. There's still some discussion on that. And also there was some discussion on the movie night that Ms. Boyd had mentioned. We had decided to have a meeting this past Monday to discuss it further so we could get this going. That meeting was canceled. So I don't know where we're at with this movie night as of tonight. And that was it for law.
Is there any way that I know that we talked about having this movie night on the 3rd, not for sure what broke down in that in terms of posting the meeting, but I don't want to pull that off the table. Mr. Burkhalter, can you give me a call tomorrow? We can look at a calendar, maybe the 3rd, the following weekend, or possibly the 3rd weekend of the month. Would that work?
I mean, it will, Mayor. I mean, in my honest opinion, I mean, this was brought to the table way back in the summer.
Yes, it was.
When Mr. Sanders was with us.
Yes.
I'm not understanding why we keep pushing it back, or yeah, but we can meet. Like I said,
I definitely don't want to cancel it because you're absolutely right. We talked about this. We've kind of pushed it back. And so at this point, I like to see this happen within the next 2 weeks.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What is there a particular issue that needs to be worked out? Is that why it keeps getting pushed back?
I believe, Kiana, if I'm not mistaken, I just think it's some of the logistics of it, of the communication, to be honest with you, perhaps has broken down. And so when the committee is doing that, it is very advantageous that the entire committee hears the same message about what that plan looks like. Again, we've been talking about it, thought it was going to really jump off at the end of August, at the end of September, and for whatever reason, something just kind of fell apart. So at this point, I want to make sure that we do get this off the ground. Again, we have been talking about this for over a year, and I think that we can make it happen for the residents here in the village. Ms. Boyd, you're on mute. There you go.
I can say originally we were going to try to have it earlier in, or it's not really at the end of August, and then we wanted to have it at the end of September. We were planning that, at the beginning of September because you need to get the word out. Mr. Fuller was the one who told me that he wanted it October 3rd. And then the difference, was the logistics. And I had wanted to give one like they've been given across the city and Wyoming, around the area, around the United States. The drive-in movies like staying in your car and free, and they had something a little bit more detailed. So that's where it was. And Mr. Burkhalter is giving the drive-in movie with his logistics. So we just have to it was my fault. I did not give the clerk of court, the clerk of council, the information in time to legally post it. And we did want to follow those guidelines. So we'll have to try to get another meeting.
No worries. I think at this point, if we continue to wait on meeting over meeting, that's where I think a stalemate will become. So again, Mr. Burkhalter, again, if you could give me a call tomorrow. It sounds like you have taken the lead on this with the chair putting a blessing on that. So if you would be so kind enough to give me a call tomorrow so that we can make this happen. We are going to make it happen.
Mayor, just one last thing. I just think
Sure.
it will happen. We just need to streamline who's a part of putting this together. Like
Correct.
It was supposed to happen in the summer when it was, Steve had brought it to my attention and it was planned and then it got pushed back. More people got put on the committee or the idea. And I believe the more people that get put on it, it just raises more questions and more logistics when you already had plans. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll give you a call in regards to it.
No worries. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it. Very well. All right. Are there any other questions for Mr. Burkhalter and Law? Having none, Mr. Thaman, Municipal Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll try to go through this a little quicker, but I have several things tonight. The first thing I emailed everyone, and I apologize I didn't get it to Law Committee, was an added resolution for tonight's meeting for the Chester Road repair and resurfacing project. We had bid openings yesterday, and the low bidder came in as Barrett Paving at $199,249. The engineer's estimate on that project was $279,821.50. So they're hungry, it looks like, and they were significantly lower than the estimates. And also, we had 5 bidders, with Barrett being the lowest. The next one came in at $208,779, which was John R. Jurgensen. J.K. Muir came in at $230,530.50. Rack and Baller came in at $247,622.35. And Mount Pleasant Paving came in at $331,604.90. So I am recommending to council that we adopt the legislation. In the specifications, we said they had to start and complete. They have 60 days, I believe it is. So we want this completed before the end of the year. And this is paving Glendale-Milford Road. I'm sorry, Chester Road from Glendale-Milford Road down to the South Corporation limit. So the gentlemen or the people that have called in and saw some improvements before the end of the year, they're going to probably be thankful that you're going to see some more improvements to some of our roads. That's if we get this approved by council, so we can go ahead and sign the contracts right away.
So I just want to clarify, Jerry, with Chester Road, again, that is from Glendale Milford south to the corporation. How far does that go down? Anthony, or yourself can answer that for me?
I don't want to confuse myself. Is Lincoln Heights Baptist Church on Chester, or is that on Wayne?
Wayne.
Yeah.
It goes down right to our sign, just, what is the name of the tax administration? Is a tax.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Harris.
It goes diagonally from his property, moving more south.
Okay.
That a diagonal.
Okay.
So,
But what I'm saying is, or what I'm visualizing in my head is, pretty much Chester Road is going to be taken care of, correct?
south of Glendale.
within the Woodlawn border.
Right? Did you say the border, right, Mr. Brown?
Within the village of Woodlawn's border, not all attached. to it.
Right. That's what I meant.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's what I meant. Okay. Good
Phase-
stuff. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
phase 2 will be Chester Road North from Glendale Milford up to, again, the corporation limit to
Yes.
Glendale.
Okay. I got it. All right. I just needed, got it.
A very favorable bid price on that, so I was pleased with that.
Okay. All right. So again, that's another example, as Mr. Lawson had shared earlier, another testament that, yes, we're doing exactly what we said we were going to do with that levy money. And that is to beautify the streets. And yes, I get excited every time I go up Riddle Road. And so I'm just excited the progress that we're making on that. So good stuff. Appreciate that. Jerry, do you have anything else?
I have several things, sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Staying on roads, the municipal road fund applications are going to be due, I believe, next month. And we're going to apply again for Lee Crest. Lee Crest is another road that's in pretty bad shape. Apparently, we've applied for that at least 2 times, right, Anthony? You can shake your head, yes. Yeah, so this will be our 3rd time. And what we're going to do to increase our points on our application is we're going to do a larger match. If it were estimated at $300,000, we've been doing $100,000 and haven't been close to getting funded. So we're looking at doing $200,000 and get $100,000 from the county so we can get funded for this project and get that road completed. Any questions on that one?
No.
Application we're looking at. Oh, I'm sorry, Pam, you had a question?
I have a question when you open the floor, if you're done with your report.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Another question, well, another application we're looking at is for our SCIP applications, or which we'll do later in this year. Redna Terrace, it's in the industrial area. It's in very bad shape. It's a concrete street. We're looking at a full reconstruction of that street. There are several panels that are just cracked. All the curbs are in bad shape. And we're not going to go in there and try to piecemeal that. We've looked at it, we've discussed it, we talked about a total reconstruction of that, and we're going to apply for SCIP funding. Again, we're going to bump our percentage of participation up with that. And one of the things, we have CDBG applications for the 3-year cycle coming up. It's one of the things I want to talk to council about is with that, do we want to look at putting an application in for Redna for CDBG or use it elsewhere? But I'm trying to increase our participation level so we spark our application scores higher. The council received a presentation from Mr. Chris Smith regarding the Waverly property the village owns. If you all saw the email that I sent to the mayor and then followed up to you individually, I believe it was, I sent the mayor was, we don't know if it's a fair price at $100,000 a lot. I'm not comfortable giving him sole rights until January 1st of 2022. He wants an option to be able to assign his contract over to someone else. We have no idea what types of housing he's proposing. The last time I talked to him, he said he was going to put very small slab houses on those lots. And if he's putting very small slab houses on those lots, he's not going to meet any of our zoning requirements when it comes to that. The minimum lots or minimum square footage of the house he has to comply to, the minimum square footage of the lot, the setback requirements. There's a number of things that he has to comply to, and I gave him all that. He called me today and said he's going to come in either tomorrow or Thursday morning and bring me a development plan showing me what he's proposing to put down there. Once I receive it, I'll share it with council. I sent another email out a week or so ago regarding the CDBG, the CDAP funds. And this was funds that the county received from the federal government, and we can use it to eliminate blight and for demolition. And I thought immediately of the old barbecue lot, and I sent an email to everyone. I heard back from a couple of you. I need to know if I have council's support. If we have to pull money out of the general fund, it could be up to $150,000 or $100,000 to acquire this property. I'm just not sure what we're going to be able to settle on a sale price. But I would love to eliminate that blighted structure in the village, take ownership of that property, the vacant lot next to it. I talked to that realtor. He has it under contract right now, but they haven't closed on it. He's going to let me know if it doesn't close. He'll reach back out to me so we can possibly look at putting an option into buying that property as well. So that's where we're going with that. And I just need to know if I don't want to submit an application if I don't have council support.
Where is there a consensus on the floor tonight, council? This is not a motion. Is there a consensus for us to, for Jerry to move forward on that? I highly recommend that we do that. Gives us a little control of some of the properties on the pipe in terms of our development piece that we're looking at long-term. So those things like that would greatly help us in where we're trying to get. So it's just a consensus that I'm asking for council.
Have a raise of hands if there's approval to move forward. Perfect.
It sounds like that's what we'll go ahead and move forward on that.
Thank you. And by the way, I might be meeting the property owner, the representative of the property owners. He lives in Connecticut. He's coming in this weekend, and I'm trying to hook up with him if he's going to be available. Apparently, he has property in Fairfield Township as well that he's dealing with.
Hey, Jerry, one more time. Where was that property located at again?
I think it's 10150 Springfield Pike. It's the old barbecue place.
Boston Butts.
Got you. I think that makes everybody a little bit more familiar.
Boston Butts.
Okay. That's my only question for now.
Thank you. We have been having several visits with Dan Ferguson and I with some of our businesses here with a lot of money that's become available. And I'll get into that a little later. But one of the business we met the other day, MHI, is in Woodlawn. I was very pleased to hear they developed a high heat steam, which is up to 600 degrees within 1 to 2 minutes. And it's a dry steam process that sanitizes rooms and equipment. And they're marketing this. And I was pleased to hear that they're using a design company and advertisement company next door to them with this product, as well as a sheet metal company across the street from them who's also working with them on this project. So I was pleased to hear that they're all working together and she's utilizing other local businesses. But they're going to do a demonstration at our recreation center tomorrow at 11:30. They're developing a portable one. They have handheld units out right now. They're going to develop a portable one, which is used for larger facilities. But they're going to bring the handheld one in and just show us how it works. They're trying to get more publicity with this product. And I told her, I said, you're welcome to come to our village hall and sanitize our building if you want to, and even their rec center. And I was also thinking of the fire department since we've had bed bug issues in the past. But she's going to do a demonstration tomorrow at 11:30 at the recreation center. I invited the department heads to that. If you can make it, you're welcome to come. I want to see how this thing operates. Also, I'll find out more about how their business operates as well. We're trying to help them out. They're growing, and we're trying to help them out with inclusion grants from the state of Ohio. It's from Jobs Ohio and other loan or grant opportunities that are available. And Dan Ferguson's been a great help setting all these meetings up. And again, I'll get into Dan's report here in just a second. I also had told Dan I think he's viewing this meeting from the public link, so that if we have any questions with his report or the legislation for tonight to enter into the agreement with Hamilton County Development Company again, I told Dan I will call him on the cell and he will call in and we can talk to him that way. Mr. Lawson brought up the Health Collaborative UC Early Intervention Program and UC Health conducting the COVID-19 test. That is this Saturday at the Woodlawn Pool parking lot. Pre-registration is encouraged. This information is on our website. We probably should do a code red tomorrow, maybe, Monica, if we haven't done one, just to remind everyone of this.
They got it out twice a week, Jerry.
Perfect. So that we're pre-registration is strongly encouraged with that. Kiana, you remember what time that is?
Yeah, it's from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Also, I received a letter yesterday from Duke Energy. They're going to start up with their inside gas meter and piping inspections program. They're going to restart that. They tried to start that late last year and they got some so far, and then the COVID hit and they backed away from it. The company that's going to be doing the work is Southern Cross Inc., and they will be having Southern Cross Inc. IDs on their outside of their uniform, as well as a visible Duke Energy ID. The residents, we'll put this information on the website as well, because they can schedule appointments with this company to have these inspections done. This is just not something that Duke Energy wants. It's a law that they have to inspect those pipes for leaks and corrosion every so often. And it's a regulation it's the PHMSA regulation, also the Department of Transportation regulation, so that they can safely pipe natural gas. So they're going to be doing residential inspections, which will require getting into your house. So we'll put this on the website to inform our residents. And then just a summary of the Dan Ferguson's annual report he just came out with. We have, Dan has helped Sean Ruggless in with a lot of background information and past reports that have been compiled and demographic information to help us move forward with our economic development strategic plan. We've also had 15 business retention meetings. That was from November of last year it'll be through October of this year. We already have some more scheduled. I actually have one scheduled again for this Thursday. He helped with the Tax Incentive Review Council for the CRAs, and he also helped on the CRA with Miami Valley, the housing project that's going up on Wayne Avenue. We're expecting that to be approved in October, and we're also working on the CDAP grant applications, and Dan's helping me on this Marion Road project. We're going to call it an office project. Dan told me that Nair Development at one point had an interest in that corner. So that's good to know. We have a developer that may be interested in that property. If we get it, hold it, and then we can control the development there. So we don't have a car wash.
Right.
I think that's all I have. A few other things were already brought up by other committee members, so that was perfect. That's the end of my report for now.
All right.
I have a question, if
Good
I
stuff.
can. I just wanted to know, is there an update on the recreation director position? Do we have a timeline for when we want to start interviewing and have that position hopefully filled?
That's on my calendar for tomorrow morning, just to go through those and call the people that have the qualifications and set interviews up.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of, I have a few, more than a few applications. I don't think we'll be able to recruit some of these applicants because they're specifically stating that they want close to $100,000 to be the rec director. And I can call them and ask them if they're going to entertain an idea of an interview, but we're not going to be able to meet that demand, that pay demand.
Mhm.
Others, I just don't know if they have qualifications, but I'm going to go through those and go ahead and start setting some interviews up. Also, Mr. Leroy Wilson, since you brought that up, he's going to start as our code enforcement officer.
Williams. Williams.
Williams.
Leroy Williams.
Yeah, what I say, Wilson?
Wilson.
I got Wilson's on my mind.
Yes, he is.
The birthday,
Yeah, Leroy Williams, he starts October 13th. So glad I met with him. He's done this before and helping the village out. He's interested in doing it again. And so I told him we'll get him all set up with his badges, shirts, and cell phone and office. And unfortunately, we don't have a vehicle for him right now, but I told him we'll have to turn his mileage in and we'll make sure we get him reimbursed. So that's how we're going to operate that right now. If we have a vehicle that becomes available, we'll make sure he gets use of it.
I have a question, Jerry. Thanks, Kiana, because that was one of my questions as well in regards to the recreation director, because I've been getting questions from the public. Also, the second question I was getting is in regards to the clerk that's in the police area that will be retiring. Do we have any idea when that will be fulfilled? And then the other question that I'm getting, which is an old question that was asked before, and this may be to Mayor Poole, the full-time village manager, full-time position in that, because I've been getting questions from residents on actually those three questions.
The clerk of courts position, the mayor and I have discussed that. I've been trying to set some time up with the chief that we can get together. I told him I would like to have a conversation with him about that position. Hopefully we were trying to meet this week and it just didn't work out. So hopefully we can get together either tomorrow or Thursday, if need be Friday, to further that discussion on the clerk of courts position. We know that she's retired. Her last day is like the end of March, but her last actual work day is going to be the end of this year. So we need to get somebody in here if we're going to go that route with before the end of the year, hopefully by November.
So I would assume probably these questions are coming from, will they be on the website like when you normally apply for those jobs? Is that how it works? The vacancy, so they would, if they're interested in applying?
Once we announce the job, I have the job announcement, it'll be on our website as well, plus the other news of interviewing.
Okay, thank you.
In terms of Pam, your other question in terms of the timeline for the village manager, that has not changed. As I indicated, I've asked for just a brief overview of the responsibilities currently, what I'm seeing or what is currently in the job description, at which time I'll look over that, get some feedback from council, and again, begin that process hopefully mid-October. My plan is to hopefully have someone in place the first of the year. And again, to retain Jerry for 3-4 months past that, just for a transition period, to transition that person into that role. So that is the plan that I want to follow.
Thank you. And I hope that the resident is listening.
Correct. Thank you.
I'm glad you explained that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to speak regarding the recreation director. I don't want us to settle. So I'm listening to Jerry saying he doesn't have that many applicants and he's not sure if we'll be able to select from the panel that we had. If we have to re-advertise that, I'm all for that.
That's what we need to do if we need to re-advertise.
We need to do that, but I don't want to settle because we need to make sure we get someone in there that's going to be able to help us turn that recreation around.
Correct. No worries. Thank you.
For that process, we didn't put an application deadline in there. We left it open-ended.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions for Jerry? Having none, Finance Director?
Miss
Mr.
Boyd
Engel?
had her hand up.
I'm sorry. Ms. Boyd?
You're mute.
Jerry, oh gosh, when did you post a salary? I'm not asking what it is that you were gonna pay. And can we put it, we have it on the website. Might we be able to put it other places? And as Rosemary said, as Ms. Brown said, to make sure we get a director that fits our needs. And could I myself be a part of the interview team and anybody else, the finance director or whomever, be a part of the interview team?
Well, I think that we can talk about that offline. We'll get with you, okay?
The advertisement was posted not only on our website, but the Center for Local Government and also with the Ohio Parks and Recreation Association.
And the salary is public record, correct?
Yes,
So,
and I believe that was posted too.
sharing the salary publicly. I don't know what it is though, so I can't answer that for you, Ms. Boyd.
I can't, I don't know what it is right off the top of my head either. But Ms. Boyd, if you're talking, okay.
For our bill, our size bill, our operating budget, is it competitive?
What do you mean competitive, Ms. Boyd?
Other districts with our operating budgets, if they have a rec center, or just with other rec centers that someone would desire, would have a desire to come here and work as hard as we need them to work.
I believe so. I believe so. I believe that, now this is just me thinking out loud. I believe that when we have these applicants that are sending in an interest in the job and then they have a desire for such high salary, that tells me that perhaps they haven't done their homework looking at our revenue stream. That tells me right away. So that doesn't tell me that we aren't going to find somebody out there. I believe that we will, but I am going to agree with Ms. Brown that we cannot just settle for anything just because there's an opening. Okay?
Being at that position is like Kiana say, public knowledge. Our previous recreation director was around mid-50s.
That is correct. Okay. All right. Mr. Engel?
Thank you. As Ms. Fitzgerald noted before, we had our Finance Committee meeting. Very few new items from between last week and this week. One of the new projects that Finance is working on is reallocating various expenditures from our general fund to our COVID-19 fund. We're allowed to do that, and that kind of takes some stress off of the general fund. I've been able to do that with some expenditures from the police department as well as public works. Fire is assisting me with that on their end. It's just a little bit harder for me to pick out their COVID expenditures than the other two. But we're going to try to offset some general fund expenditures with that money. Ms. Fitzgerald noted that we did get approved for a loan for the purchase of 3 new vehicles. We've already taken possession of a Ford F-250 for public works. We'll also, hopefully this year, take possession of 2 police SUVs that'll be bought with that money. There's a possibility that those will not be ready until next year. And then we'll be purchasing a 3rd SUV with cash from the Law Enforcement Trust Fund and some from the general fund for the 3rd police SUV. Before I end, we do need to make a motion to approve one delegate and one alternative delegate to act as a representative to the Regional Council of Governments for RETA. I would recommend making the delegate Mr. Willis, our tax administrator, and then the alternate delegate, me. Those delegates have the ability to cast votes for leadership positions within the Regional Council of Governments. So kind of, you know, their governing body. They come up for election kind of like council or anybody else, and the delegates cast votes for those individuals. Otherwise, the only thing I kind of have on my agenda would be as well for motions would be to approve the bank reconciliation report that was provided as part of this packet, as well as Finance Committee, as well as the receipt listing and disbursements listing that were provided as provided as part of this packet, as well as the Finance Committee packet.
Okay. So I'm looking at, I got the one motion, so I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna just go one at a time what I've seen in terms of your comments. Team, I do need a motion to appoint Charles Willis as the delegate to the RETA and Tim Engel as the backup delegate. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
That is make a motion to appoint Charles Willis as the delegate and Tim Engel as the backup.
I second it.
All right. I do need a vote on that motion.
Monica, you're muted.
Want a roll call?
I need a roll call on that, please.
Here we go. Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Esther Boyd.
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter.
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Kiana Trabue.
Aye.
All right. Now, Tim, you also mentioned a motion. What was your other one?
The other motion was simply to approve, and we make it fairly generalized, approve the report submitted to council, which include the bank reconciliation, receipt listing, and expenditures listing.
All right. All right. I need a motion to approve the reports to council for the approval of the bank reconciliations and receipt listings and payment listings. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion for the reports that was given to council to approve the bank reconciliation and the receipts listing.
Second.
Is it payment listing too, Tim?
Yes, it should be.
And payment
listing as well.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trabue. I need a roll call on the motion, please.
Yes, sir. Go with Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Esther Boyd.
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter.
Aye.
Emma Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Kiana Trabue.
Very well. All right, Tim.
And that was all I had for finance, unless somebody has some questions or anything they want to bring up.
Okay. The only thing that I wanted to bring up, and I hope, I don't know if it'll take place in finance next month, but again, very alarmed at the report that was shared with us about the expenditures at the recreation center. We just need to get a really grab on that. Those are just out of sight. That number is just mind-boggling to me. So we need to really wrap our hands around that and make some changes down there. Other than that, that's all I have in terms of my comments to you, Tim.
Sure.
All right. Law Director, Miss Emily?
I don't have a report tonight. But if there's any questions about anything that's outstanding, I'm happy to answer those.
Very well, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, the only report that I have, just kind of want to reiterate some of the things that have been talked about today. Again, the testing for the COVID-19 is this Saturday. I believe Councilmember Trabue shared that it was from 9 to 1 at the pool parking lot. And we do highly recommend that you pre-register for that. There was a question to me in terms of will insurance pay for that? I can't say for everybody's insurance policy, the majority of them will, but just to make sure, I would reach out to your carrier to see if they will pick that cost up.
Oh,
There's actually no need to do that. The testing is free.
So they don't have to, no insurance is involved? Very well, there's that answer. Okay, because there are some that in the past where you were playing with that insurance in there. So thought I'd just throw that in there, but no worries. So we know that it's free. Great stuff. Thank you, Ms. Kiana. Appreciate that. And thank you for just kind of taking the lead on that. I know that's your area of expertise outside of council. And so we just appreciate you and Monica working on that, making it really come to happen here in the village. So we do appreciate that. The census. To my understanding, I thought that the census was, the last day was the 30th. I do believe that that has been extended. Monica, do you know of a date that is the extension date for the census?
I don't think there's an extension date out there, but I will double check for you.
Okay.
Getting emails saying it's ending in September 30th, but that's not true.
Right.
Hey,
So-
Mayor, I'm sorry, Mayor. I think it got extended for another week. I just heard that today.
Okay.
So I think it's the first week of October. So Monica, you
Okay.
can get an exact date, but I did hear it today.
Check.
Okay. Again, we urge the residents of the village of Woodlawn to please, it takes less than 5 minutes to complete that, to get on the website. There are still census takers out walking. They just may knock on your door. And we just ask that you please participate in the census. This is an avenue for village federal monies that are coming down for us to be part of. And it's based on census count. So we want to make sure that we do that as well. I also heard, I think from Tim, that the Public Works, their new truck came in and it's a dandy. So I think that once it gets outfitted, I think Tony is probably going to have an open show for it, not an open house, but an open show for his piece of new equipment.
Go,
I'm very
Tony.
excited
Go,
for
Tony.
that team as well. So I'm excited to see that all come together. Again, as I mentioned before, school is back in, I think, and this is the chief, hopefully you're listening. I have been noticing that because we are on a hybrid schedule in Princeton, I'm not for sure if folk are understanding that we still have kids going to school every day. The cars that are coming through these neighborhoods, stopping, I mean, they're just speeding. It's ridiculous of the speeding that I'm witnessing coming through the neighborhoods. But I'm asking that the residents please be mindful of our kids that are on sidewalks, catching buses. Please, I urge you to be careful. I wanted to mention that because I'm seeing a lot of that happening here in the village. That's all that I have tonight. Any questions for me? Having none, let's move into legislation. Emily?
Yep. The first item is ordinance 19-2020. This is a second reading of an ordinance amending ordinance number 09-2018 to provide for a salary increase for certain employees in the police department and fire department and declaring an emergency.
I'm
Very
sorry,
well.
Mayor.
Yes.
The mayor's monthly statement to council should have been approved by motion before we entered legislation.
Right.
Okay, one moment. I took that out, Tim. I think I took it out, but I did see it in there. All right, so, I mean,
It's in the packet.
yeah, I thought I read it and I'm like, okay, I'm funneling through this big old packet. All right, so before we move into my legislation, I do apologize, Miss Emily. Can we please, there a motion on the floor to approve the mayor's monthly bank statement? Mayor's court statement?
I make a motion to approve the mayor's monthly council statement to council.
It's the mayor's court. Mayor's court monthly statement.
That's the one with the fines on it? The local cost, is that the one?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So what'd you say, Mayor? I said the wrong thing?
No, I need a motion to approve, to accept the mayor's court monthly statement.
I make a motion to approve the mayor's court monthly statement.
I'll second it.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do we need to state the amount for the public record?
It's a grand total of $20,288.62.
Thank you.
And that's from court dates for the month were August 4th and August the 18th, 2020. I believe it's been,
These are
the motion has been moved properly
right?
second, am I correct?
Yes.
Roll call on that motion, please.
Mary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Kiana Trey
Aye.
Very well. I apologize, Miss Emily, for that. Thank you, Tim. All right. So, ordinance number 19, 2020. Again, this is the second reading. I need a motion to suspend the rules. Motion to suspend the rules for ordinance 19, 2020.
Without a motion, it'll be a second reading. It'll be on the agenda for October.
This is considered the second reading tonight, is that correct?
That's correct.
If there is no suspension of the rule, again, this will move to the next month. Is that council's pleasure?
Yes.
So move. Next.
The next one is ordinance 20, 2020, an ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 5, 2020 pertaining to the imposition of a convenience fee for credit card payments made to the village of Woodlawn and declaring an emergency.
All right, I need a motion for suspension of the rules, please.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 20, 2020.
2020.
2020.
2020.
All right.
Second.
All right. Motion been properly moved and second. Roll call on the suspension.
Yes. Start with Kiana Trey this time.
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Mr. Burkhalter,
Aye.
Esther Boyd.
Very well. I need a motion.
I'm not finished, Mayor. I'm sorry. I didn't get to hear Esther Boyd's.
Yes.
Okay, Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries. I need a motion for passage of ordinance number 20-2020.
I'm gonna make a motion for passage for ordinance 2020.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved properly second. Roll call on the passage, please.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Kiana Trey
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Very well. I need a motion to declare ordinance number 2020 an emergency.
Make a motion declaring ordinance 2020 an emergency.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved, properly second, roll call.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Kiana Trey
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Aye.
Emma
Aye.
Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Very well. All right,
The next one is ordinance number 21, 2020, an ordinance amending appropriations for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020.
very well. I need a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 21, 2020.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 21, 2020.
Second.
Motion been moved, properly second, roll call on the suspension.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Emma Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Kiana Trey
Aye.
I need a motion for passage of ordinance number 21, 2020.
Motion for passage of ordinance number 21, 2020.
I'll second.
Motion been moved, properly second, roll call on the passage.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pam Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Kiana Trey
Aye.
Very well.
The next one is resolution 22, 2020, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a chest compression system and related equipment for the Woodlawn Fire Division.
Very well, I need a motion for suspending of the rules of resolution 22, 2020.
Motion for suspension of the rules for resolution 22, 2020.
Second.
Motion been moved, properly second, roll call on the suspension.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Yes.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Emma Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Kiana Trey, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Very well. I need a motion for passage of resolution number 22, 2020.
Make a
Make a
motion
mo-
for passage from resolution 22, 2020.
I second it.
Motion been moved, properly second, roll call on the passage.
Kiana Trey,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Emma Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Aye.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Very well.
The next one is resolution 23, 2020, a resolution authorizing the purchase of personal protective equipment for the Woodlawn Fire Division.
Motion for passage for resolution.
Excuse me.
22.
We need to suspend the rules first.
Oh,
I need a motion to suspend the rules for resolution 23, 2020.
Motion to suspend the rules for resolution 23, 2020. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Second it.
Motion been moved, properly second, roll call on the suspension, please.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Aye.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Emma Fitzgerald,
I don't have that one, that in my packet. It's missing.
We talked about,
23.
this was,
23.
You know what it's pertaining, right?
we talked about this in finance, I believe we did,
And in law.
and law.
Okay, aye. That's fine. I just missing the actual written part. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Monica, was she the last one on your roll?
No, sir.
Okay,
Robert,
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Kiana Trey,
Aye.
All right. I need a motion for passage of resolution 23, 2020.
Motion for passage
Was that it?
of resolution 23, 2020.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved, properly second, roll call on the passage.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Aye.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye.
Kiana Trey
Aye.
All right.
And the next one is Resolution 24, 2020, a resolution authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with the Hamilton County Development Company to provide economic development assistance to the village.
Very well. I need a motion for suspension of the rules for resolution number 24, 2020.
Motion for suspension of the rules for resolution number 24, 2020.
I'll second.
Motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the suspension.
Kiana Trey
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Eric Burkhalter,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Aye.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
I need a motion for passage of resolution number 24, 2020.
I'll make a motion for passage for resolution 24, 2020.
There's,
I
Second.
second it.
thank you.
was that Ms.
Motion
Boyd?
been moved, properly second. Roll call on the passage.
Kiana Trey
I actually have a question. Can I ask a
Sure.
question? Two questions. This agreement is scheduled to commence on November 1st. So I assume the previous one ends on October 31st of this year.
That is
Correct.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I had a question about Exhibit A and the scope of services. If you look down at number 9, it says Woodlawn City Council. It should say Village.
We can make
And
that.
then the other question related to the scope of services, not specifically for this contract, but in the previous, do we have a way to ensure that the scope of services has been completed? So when we look at some of these specific things with a minimum of 15 meetings, those sorts of things, are we getting reports from them indicating that they're meeting the terms of the scope of services?
I have received something for his annual report, and council should have received it as well. It just came out. Dan Ferguson just sent it out.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, Dan has been doing an excellent job for us, and he's been working hard, especially with all this new available money out there with these inclusion grants and the COVID grants. That's why we're trying to reach out to these businesses that might be struggling, or there's a couple actually that are looking at expanding, and we're trying to find grant opportunities for these companies. And Dan's been very helpful with that. He's also been involving Ready Cincinnati with it as well.
Great. Thank you.
Kiana, that was a great question you asked.
Oh, thank you.
Believe that the motion has been properly moved and second. Am I correct, clerk?
Well, we are on,
Roll
actually,
call.
Ms. Trey on passage.
Yes.
Robert Lawson,
Aye, did you hear me?
Fitzgerald. Ms. Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Gary Burkhalter,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Aye.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Right. Very well. Okay, Emily?
All right, the next one's Resolution 25, 2020. Resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Very well. I need a motion to suspend the rules for resolution number 25, 2020.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules on resolution number 25, 2020.
Second.
Motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
Rosemary Brown,
Aye.
Esther Boyd,
Aye.
Eric Burkhalter,
Muted.
Oh, you're muted.
Go ahead with the roll call.
Gary.
I mean,
We can't hear you.
Aye.
there he is.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Robert Lawson,
Aye,
Lawson.
aye, aye.
Kiana Tribune.
Aye.
All right. I need a motion for passage of resolution number 25, 2020.
Motion for passage for resolution 25, 2020.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the passage, please.
Kiana Tribune.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye,
Emma Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Garrett Burkhalter.
Aye.
Esther Boyd.
Aye.
And Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Very well, thank you.
The next one is Resolution 26, 2020. As the manager indicated in his report, these bid opening occurred after the legislation was prepared. This was prepared as a placeholder. So with the corrected information inserted into the resolution, it will be a resolution authorizing the municipal manager to enter into a contract with Barrett Paving for the Chester Road Repair and Resurfacing Project. And the total amount of the bid is $199,249.
That is correct. I need a motion to suspend the rules for resolution number 26, 2020.
I make a motion to suspend the rules for resolution number 26, 2020.
second it, second.
All right, motion's been moved, properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
Garrett Burkhalter.
Aye.
Emma Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Esther Boyd.
Aye.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye,
Ms. Tribune.
Aye.
I need a motion for passage of resolution number 26, 2020.
I make a motion for passage for resolution number 26, 2020.
I'll second.
Motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the passage.
Mr. Lawson.
aye,
Ms. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Ms. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Boyd.
Yes.
Ms. Tribune.
Aye.
And Mr. Burkhalter.
Aye.
Very well. Thank you. Emily, it looks like that was it. Emily?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Is there any new business that comes for this council? All right, having no other business, I would entertain a motion for an adjournment.
So moved.
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
I think Ms. Rosemary made the motion. Mr. Lawson seconded the motion.
I'll second that motion for adjournment.
All right, very well. All ayes?
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
There are no nays. Very well. Team, I thank you so much for your time tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening and be safe.
Thank
See
you.
Saturday. See you Saturday.
night.
Don't forget.
Emily.